Trump signs executive order banning transgenders from women's sports, from them competing in men's sports. Oh, just said that like that. Come in. How's it going?
It's going.
Trump signs executive order banning trans women from competing in women's sports.
Thank God.
Did you watch the signing?
Um, I didn't need to. I was happy.
I heard that the swimmer is suing Trump already.
Mm.
What's up?
How's it going?
Oh, just
Trump signs executive order banning transgender women from competing in women's sports. How do you feel?
fantastic. Fantastic. I mean, bro, you're barking up the wrong tree. I mean, if they want to compete, they can have their own third category. I am not allowing, I would be damned if a 6'4" man is going, a mentally ill individual is going to compete against my 5'3" daughter who's worked her ass off. 5'5". My daughter's gonna be a little tall. Who's worked her ass off in any sport? I'm sorry, point blank. Period. Hormones don't shrink them. Nothing like that. And if they were to stop taking those hormones, their body would go back to homeostasis and would actually go back to being male. So this is not a permanent change. Even if they change, the parts, if they stop taking those drugs, their body will go back to being male. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Nope, not today, Satan.
The counter argument that I heard from someone on our team that's leftist is that they felt like they agreed with the ban, but they felt like they should have taken into consideration to have them be tested for the hormones, and that was what I learned in another live. I went on an LGBTQ plus live, and that was their thing, that the hormones does decrease the the testosterone in them.
For sure. And I can understand that from like a medical standpoint. There are some women who have more testosterone than the average, which would make them a bigger build and would obviously give them more muscle tone than, say, me, who has like a normal level of both. So I can understand that argument for sure. But at the end of the day, these they're still men. They're still going to be taller. Their center of gravity is still vastly different from ours. Their hip placements are vastly different from ours. Their femurs are going to be longer. The amount of grip strength, arm strength, all of that will be different no matter what. Because even if they take hormones, most of these men are still going to attain 6 foot plus, and the average American female is like 5'3". So, I mean, they're always going to have a tactical advantage. If anything, for it to be fair, they should compete amongst themselves. We should create a complete category for them, and they should compete amongst themselves,
Bo,
which makes more sense.
You came up first. Hold on, Shannon. Bo, I think you came up first. What do you think about it?
Well, I mean, there's clearly, a disadvantage for females competing against transgenders. Everything. I mean, and that's what it's always been about, is just trying to make it as fair as possible. My question is, like, what happens whenever somebody hasn't been taking hormones and stuff like that? They're naturally, because it does happen, to where they're naturally, has like a female. They're born female, but they tend to have more male, similarities to males. So I mean, like, do you hold that against that person that's not ever done anything to naturally enhance themselves? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, Leonard, do you agree with Bo?
Not so much on the last point. Obviously, even if you're a man or a woman, everyone's gonna be born with more advantages than somebody else, right? Genetically.
Absolutely.
So obviously a woman can be born with higher testosterone. That's okay because it's perfectly natural, right? So if I'm a man and I play baseball, I can't take testosterone. I can't take any extra hormones because that would disqualify me from literally every the NBA, NFL. You know, you can't take steroids or anything of that nature. One question I wanted to ask is, at
I
what
like that.
age does someone, like I'll say a man, what age does the average man stop going through puberty? Like, when is it over?
I mean, it can vary, but I mean, I would say probably that around about like anywhere from like I would say 17 to 20, somewhere in that range,
Okay, and I
I
know
mean, it
that's
can vary. I've known some guys going through it at 23.
sure. And I know somebody on the panel said that hormone blockers are all reversible, but what if you take a hormone blocker from the age 14 to 24 and then you stop? Do you think that they're going to continue to go through puberty at 25? Like your puberty is just going to start there? I don't think that it works that way.
Well, according to the detransitioner movement, your body goes back to homeostasis. Obviously, there has been zero long-term studies showing the effectiveness of feeding children. And I mean long-term, I mean 30-year long-term studies.
Yes.
There's a reason why England, France, Norway, Australia, Austria, Germany, basically everybody in the EU no longer gives gender affirming care to children. That includes Lupron injections or anything like that, hormone blockers, because the studies have shown it literally destroys their body. There are 14-year-old girls right now walking around with osteoporosis, which is an elderly deficient. So, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy work that the United States is still even considering giving poison to little children. Wait till they're 18.
Well, I mean, regarding, transgender care, all of that stuff, I mean, or even, the surgery aspect, 99% of the time, these parents are going to, are looking for Medicaid to pay for it. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, I can't even, when I had, my breast reduction done, I had to pay out of pocket. Okay. And everything. So no, that's cosmetic surgery and everything. But as she was stating, we don't really know the long-term side effects of all of this. There's no studies, because this is a new thing. So we don't know long-term what effects it's going to have on the person, and regarding, usually, these transgender males that are entering women's sports, they're mediocre. They're mediocre, or they would stay in their men's sport or in their lane, but they're mediocre. And so they come over thinking they can dominate, in our area. And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm sorry, that's why we have the disabled community. They have their own Olympics. They have their own league. They have their own, criteria. Well, guess what? Now the transgenders can do the same thing. Okay. Right. And everything, and unfortunately in my sport, we're still one of the very last sports where men and women compete equally on the same team, and stuff. So, I don't.
The argument about creating basically a third, where you'd have, men's sports, women's sports, and then I guess mixed or transgender, however you want to say it. The issue you run into is a lot of these people that do this. And I'm a just so y'all know, I'm an ally. I'm what I consider an ally. If you want to live your life a certain way, I'm by no means, am I to say something against it. But a lot of them, they don't want to be, singled out. You know what I mean? They and so it's like.
Well, neither did the disabled community, but they have
yeah, that's true. Hey, that's a good point.
And stuff. And, I understand they're fighting for their rights and everything, but you know what? Wait your turn. The disabled community, women's rights, everybody's fighting for something, and actually there's 4 categories. You got the men's sports, women's sports, you have the disabled, and you have the veterans disabled community. So there's 4 different areas, that people can compete in. Now there can be a 5th one. Let them create their own, and don't come over.
How do you create a 5th one? You're spewing so much crap that it's beyond me that anybody's taking what you're saying serious.
Well, what create their own? Well, how do you think the disabled?
Kitty, I'd love to hear your side, man.
Well, what I would say is this, first of all, okay? We're acting as if in a school system, that there's dozens and dozens or hundreds or even thousands of people. Like, you can look at the NCAA and you can talk to just about anybody who's in charge there, and they're literally looking at, like, nationwide, they've had to deal with this like 12 times. Okay, so
Right.
so the idea that there's all kinds of positions, most of the time what this is some poor little weakling kid who for whatever reason, you want to call it, whether it's, you know, something in your brain chemistry, or if it's some sort of physiological or mental thing or whatever, what you're mostly having is telling a little child that they can't run around and kick a soccer ball with somebody, or that literally has no effect on anybody at all except sexists, bigots, and all this stuff. And they create this problem that doesn't even exist. So with Shauna over here saying that we should create a league for them, well, good. You'll be traveling from like Connecticut. You'll be traveling from Connecticut to like North Carolina to find enough people to field a league for these people to play in.
And that's their problem, because you're not going to impose on little girls.
It's not their problem that you're. It's not their problem.
And
it's not their. I'm talking now. I let you talk. I'm talking now.
The disabled community did it. Are you saying the disabled community did it?
Oh, what would you think that you would find? Would you say, hey, listen, stupid? Would you say that you would find more disabled?
Sorry, I did not insult you. Please do not insult me.
You insult me with your stupid thinking. You insult me by being.
I mean, everybody's an. Excuse me. I'm a moderator. Thank you. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. Kenny, I appreciate yours. Shayna or Shanna, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. I appreciate yours. However, you're entitled to your opinion, and that's cool. You're not entitled to be a dick. Okay, you can absolutely remark and rebuttal her. Don't be a dick, or we'll drop you. Point blank. Period. Thank you very much.
I let her talk. I let her say everything that she wanted to say, and she's interrupting me the whole time. I didn't even talk to her.
Please, Shanna, don't interrupt. There we go.
Shannon thinks that you can field. Shannon thinks that there's disabled people are on par with the same numbers of people who are transgender that want to play sports. Like you saying that they created leagues for disabled people to play in, so therefore they can create people for children who are transgender. As I said, then you can get your transgender kid and put him in a car and drive him from Delaware down to Florida, because that's how infrequent that this is actually happening.
That's a good point.
There are literally thousands and thousands and thousands of disabled people in almost every community, and there are like dozens of transgender people across multiple states that are trying to play this. Most of this would just go under the radar, and there would just be some kid trying to play a sport and kick a ball at the lowest level. There's not some problem where scholarships are being stolen left and right, or people are being injured and hurt and incapacitated, or any of this stuff. There's literally just somebody who's a little bit different trying to play a low-level freaking sport, like on a softball, pickup softball, or community rec league basketball.
I have a question for you specifically. So why can't they just play with their sex? Why can't these boys just play with the other boys? Why can't the girls just play with the other girls? If you're right, it's only 10 out of the entire country, then they could just play with the people that on their same sex level. Sex as in, medical basis. They can just play. They don't have to play with other people. It's so few people, they can suck it up. And the boys can play with the boys and the girls can play with the girls. That's why we have two separate leagues. Why should we make Why should we make concessions for so few people? The majority rules in this country, we have decided we are no longer making concessions for them. They can play with the other boys and the other girls can play with the other girls. Why should we make concessions? There's so few of them, according to you. Why should we make concessions? We're in the majority and we have decided we're no longer making concessions.
Why do you remove science? Why do you remove science then?
We didn't remove science.
You are removing
There's no science. It's not science. These people are choosing to use science to change their gender, but they were not born that way. These people were either born male or they were born female. Obviously, I understand there's intersex, but those are even fewer than the transgender people. So at the end of the day,
when you do a brain scan on a transgender person, just like if you do a brain scan on a schizophrenic or somebody else that has what you would deem as a disorder, when you do a brain scan on someone who's transgender, what you find universally is that their brain is functioning more on the sex that they're identifying with as the sex that they were born at. So that whether you choose to accept it or not, that's the way that their brain
I don't
is
care.
working.
Their
That's like
DNA,
saying
they're standing up to piss.
if a man
Their
gets,
DNA
if a
tells
man,
us they're male.
I'm
I'm
going to tell somebody
sorry.
then when if, it's like if that what you're saying is like saying if somebody gets breast cancer that's a man that they shouldn't do that because they don't really have breasts like and that's a woman's disease primarily.
Kenny, I'm
No,
They
that's
should
not
sorry.
what
give
I'm
it
saying.
You
a
just
man.
sound like you hate women. You want
I
men
mean-
to compete against women.
Sorry.
You hate women. Just say you want your boyfriend to be able to compete because he
Let
can't
me,
keep up with a boy. That's what it is.
That's nonsense.
if I
That's
could
Stop
just
nonsense.
that.
cut in with a little
That's
bit of
nonsense.
numbers
Yeah,
here.
go ahead, Leonard. Go ahead.
I know that Kenny says that there is such a small number of transgender athletes that it doesn't really affect anyone, and it only affects, I think he spoke about small children kicking a soccer ball. But I was going to give you a couple of numbers. A UN report from 2024 cited that at least 900 medals were lost to transgender rivals, and this is all women losing 900 medals to trans women. So that's competitions that normally the winner would have gone to a biological woman if a transgender was not competing. And we know that at least 24 trans women have won national or international competition titles. So that's 24 trans women born as a male, assigned the sex of male at birth, had male genitalia, male build their entire life, and then at some point started taking hormones, competing with biological women, and completely blew them out of the water. So, and another thing I would like to point out, I'm just curious if the brain scan thing is true. I wonder if these brain scans are done before or after taking hormones for many years. Anyway, I just want to throw this out there.
The Flyers. Hope Rams is not here. Hello.
Okay, Bo, do you have something to say? Because we're gonna bring some more people up.
No,
Tapping
man,
is
I'm
clapping.
good.
Please
Y'all have a good one, guys.
page. Go ahead, Bo.
No, I'm good, man. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for listening. Y'all have a good day.
All right, Isaiah, how you feel about what you've been hearing?
Yeah, as far as the executive order goes, I'm pleased with it. I'm happy to see that.
Okay, Jay, sure. Are you happy to see it as well?
No, I mean, I don't think there should be an outright ban on anything. I think we could look at it on an individual basis, and there's an argument to be had, a discussion to be had on the safety with respect to some sports. But I do have respect for women. I think women can compete with trans women. These ladies obviously think women are too weak to compete with trans women. I don't believe that. Trans women do not dominate these sports. Leah Thomas loses all the time. Leah Thomas is not even one of the top ranked swimmers in the world, even undergoing hormone replacement and operating as a man. The reason that these people need to compete in sports is because they undergo therapy and just no longer have the capacity to compete with men. I also think that trans men should be able to compete in men's sports. As a man, I'm not offended by that. I'm not offended by a woman coming into my space. We see that, but these women seem to have no problem with that, which just shows their bias and their hatred towards just trans women.
If I could ask one question, could you name any example of a woman who transitioned to a man competing in men's sports? And
yeah, I mean, you can go look it up.
Could you name one where that person won a significant
Yeah, you can go look it up. I think it was like a speed walker. I don't know. I really don't care that much, But like, it wouldn't bother me. I mean, this is mostly in like high school sports. Like Trump is. Yeah, I mean, women can compete with men in high school sports or youth sports all the time. I mean, it's not really that big of an issue.
Jay, sure.
Yeah.
So you're against a biological male who makes their own decision, per se, to transition, quote unquote, into the different sex that they don't want to be in. Maybe going from male to female or vice versa, competing in sports what would not match their biological sex. You're okay with that?
I think it's primarily basically okay. I think there's discussions to be had. I think there should be certain rules set in place.
So why should they be allowed, period, to do it?
Go ahead, Mia. Mia, go ahead. Michael, I know you just came up. Oh, go ahead, Mia. You there?
Sorry, I'm just going to cut in real quick.
There's
There's
a
almost
discussion.
400 people in this live. Let's tap the screen. Please share. We do want to stay on the For You page. This is a great topic. I've been reading all of the comments, and I thank everybody thus far for putting in their opinions, even if we're different from it. It's okay. We're all American. So please tap the screen. Tap, tap, tap. Tapping is clapping. Now you guys can have the floor. Thank you so much, guys.
Michael,
Yeah,
I know
mean,
you have. Hold on one second, Jay. Sure. Michael, I know you haven't had a chance. What do you think about Trump's transgender ban?
Hey, thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about it, but I do have a question. In the transgender community, they always want to be singled out and have their own identity. Everything is theirs, theirs, theirs. Why are they coming into women's sports, and why not make their own league of transgender, male, female, transgender? Why do they want to take over women's sports?
So I don't know that it would necessarily be, per se, a takeover of the sport assigned to male or female, as much as it is an issue for them just basically competing in it. Because
lack of better wording,
I'm perfectly fine with the transgender whole thing making their own thing with it, just like we do for males and females. I don't give a shit if they do that or not. But I do have a problem with a biological male, quote unquote, transitioning into the different sex, trying to compete with other women.
Oh, I do too. That's why I'm saying, they need their own category for lack of wording.
I mean, I agree. There's a reason why they decided men and women were going to compete separately in sports, because we have to admit, whether anybody wants to admit it or not, we are biologically different. Like I said, our femurs are different size, our muscle tone, our center of gravity, our stance, our hips, the way we carry our shoulders, our broadness of our shoulders, literally everything about men and women are different. This even goes for men that are shorter of stature and women that are taller of stature. We are all very different. That's why they decided way back when that we were going to separate us and give us more of a fair advantage and competing advantage so we could compete against each other. So I'm all for transgender people competing, whether it's in their own category. And I do concede that there's not enough of them to have their own category. Kenny brought up a very good point. So they can compete with their biological DNA, and their DNA will always say male or always say female. There is no difference. It's always going to be one or the other. They can compete with their own DNA, which would be fair to them and fair to the other competitors in that genre.
Leonard,
It's literally that simple. I still want them to compete. I think I myself am an athlete. I want them to compete. I think they should compete with their biological sex. It would not. It's just an unfair
we all
advantage.
do.
1 second, Leonard.
Right, so maybe is there a
Do you have anything else to add, Leonard?
Sure. I just wanted to throw in that, like I said earlier with the numbers, at least 24 trans women have won significant competitions, and more than half of those set world records by like a wide margin. But on the other side, only 3 trans men have ever won any kind of significant competition.
That's a lot, dude. That's a lot.
24 versus 3.
So you agree? So just so I'm clear. So women can't play in men's sports then, right?
No, they shouldn't be allowed to.
Women, I want you to understand this. So when your little girls want to go play baseball with the boys, they're not allowed to. They got to stick to softball, right? That's what we're going with.
Yes, that's what we're saying.
Yeah, that's fine with me. That's fine with me. As long
You're
as they
insane
don't play
people then. What?
Now, obviously, if you're just playing at the park with your friends, obviously we're not going to separate those. However, if you're competing, like in, for example, Little League, yes, separate them any day.
There are no girl baseball leagues.
But that's different because it's like a co-op. It is like a co-thing. So when you sign your children up, there's going to be boys and girls because that's on the paperwork. I mean, I have 2 children. One is in high school.
Thank you.
So
The same thing
I
with
mean,
this.
but that doesn't make sense. So you're assuming that the parents, because in order for children to play any sports, whether it's organized, whatever, you have to sign, and it says co on it. So there's going to be boys and girls. So that
Yeah,
argument's illogical.
you could be told in high school or anywhere else that when you sign up your girl for high school sports that there could be trans men or trans women on the team.
Jay, sure, I'm kind of.
You wouldn't be okay with that either, though.
Hold on. Jay, sure, I'm kind of baffled a little bit by the way that you're defending this.
Yeah, I don't think these women are really like thinking out loud, like really thought hard about this, because what they're really saying is
about it.
we want the benefit.
Hold on,
We want to be able to compete with men on our own terms, but we don't want trans men in our sports. So it's not about like they're okay competing with men when they want
said
to.
at all.
Hold on. If you're going, here's the bottom line. Okay, let me make it in more layman's terms for you since you're having trouble. Okay,
I'm not having trouble.
If you're going to compete,
Yeah, you are.
If you're going to compete, I don't care if it's high school level, I don't care if it's college level, any level professionally, for lack of better words, if you're going to play in any kind of sport, I don't care what sport it is, shall match your biological sex from birth, point blank and period.
But what does that mean? That's your rule that you're coming up with.
No, that's been the rule for a long time. It's not my
It has not, because women compete in men's sports all the time.
They shouldn't be allowed
and trans
to.
people, but that's your decision without no basis. Why should a little girl not be able to compete in little league?
Jay, sure. Yeah. Mia, I'm gonna butcher your name. I'm sorry, ma'am. She just gave you about 20 different reasons biologically as to why they shouldn't be allowed. Were you listening?
No,
and I will say,
you know who's better?
No, you weren't listening. Okay, Mia, you might want to repeat those because they weren't listening.
I mean, all I gotta say is when it comes to Jay, sure, like what I mean, when I said it comes to Little League, a parent signs off. Little League typically are boys and girls. Parents sign off on that. I mean, that argument just seems a little disingenuous because the parents are agreeing that boys and girls are going to compete together on a Little League. I mean, that's fairly standard and normal for small towns. It's not like it's a surprise.
My mother came into the firehouse where we signed up for it. And literally,
I think we got off topic here because we're talking about what Trump passed. Not Little League. Little League and all that's held up to the parents and the schools. We're talking about what Trump passed.
Which I'm perfectly fine.
What do you think Trump can do about banning?
He just issued an executive order to it. What do you mean?
Trump could issue an executive order saying United States of America is moving the moon billions of light years away. In what world does the president have the power to outlaw trans people in certain sports?
By the Constitution of the United States, the executive branch is empowered to issue executive orders for the country.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, actually,
can the president get rid of Congress?
An executive order does not apply at the state level. They apply at the federal level.
So no, the president doesn't have power, executive power.
Yeah, he doesn't have executive power.
Who plays in sports or not?
He does.
United executive States, branch
not
issue.
World.
Time out.
He doesn't have the power in the United States.
Jay, hold on one second. Isaiah,
sure he does.
I'm going to let you guys say what you have to say. We'll bring two more people up. Go ahead, Isaiah.
Oh, you're dropping me?
Yeah, there's a lot of people waiting in the line.
Oh, I'm here to have conversation, not a 20-minute gin-ding.
Okay, well...
Hey, brother. I'll drop out. I want to say thanks for letting me come up and ask my questions. I appreciate you, and I'll sit in and listen to the rest of it. Thanks.
No problem, Michael. Thank you so much for coming up. K-Dot, do you want the floor? I see that you're here. Good morning. Yes, I know we're on the same time zone.
What's up? Good afternoon, everybody. What's going on? So I was listening in. Are we talking about Trump's empty executive order to ban trans women from sports that does nothing across the board?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
It's a nice little virtue signal to the people who are anti-trans or things of that nature. Now, I will say, me personally, I do think there's a pathway to including trans individuals into the sport with the gender they identify with. I think there needs to be more time, science, and investment into this to treat these people equally and make them feel as American as possible. I feel that's the best route to go. If it turns out we can't include them without being some type of fair way, then that's going to be a tough pill to swallow, but at least it would have been backed by the investment of the American people because, again, they are Americans and they deserve that right. But if it turns out there is no advantage that they would have as trans individuals after doing some science and medical work, that'll be a tough pill for the anti-trans people to swallow, because there would be no difference. But at the end of the day, this executive order is just a feel-good tactic for hate and a stupid thing for a president to do towards fellow Americans. But I'm done. I land my
Well,
plane
it's
now.
not just a feel-good thing. It stops off any federal funding to any of these schools that participate in it, any public schools that get federal funding. Private institutions like private high schools and private colleges could still have this technically, but the NCAA has already outlawed, transgender athletes from competing like, men and women's sports. So really it stops any federal funding to any school that participates in this that gets federal funding.
I'll have to double check that. That could be true.
That's exactly what it does.
That's fine. I'm not saying it doesn't.
I did go to private school, so I can tell you they get no government funding, so they don't obey that.
Yeah, it won't do anything for any private
I'd like to ask you something,
any
K-Dot.
public institutions.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, so do you think it's fair the way it is right now? Because obviously we've showed us some examples. Mia gave some examples of.
No, like I said,
of the hold on, so 1 second, Dem.
Okay,
so Mia gave some examples of differences in body. She mentioned females.
I don't need the examples. I know what you're going to do. It's fine. We don't have to take the long route.
But do you think it's fair for these girls and women to compete in these sports with men who have a significant advantage over them? Do you think that's fair?
I just said no. That's why I said we need to invest in the medical science of seeing what happens when kids transition and take the hormones, and then they're on the same level as the gender they identify with. So women who identify as biological women who transition into men, they become trans men. They take testosterone. Do they have enough testosterone to compete with, even amateur boxers or amateur weightlifters or bodybuilders or whatever male sport is dominated by biological men, and vice versa? I said we need to put the money into the science because they are fellow Americans and we need to treat them as such.
Why is that the left's just motive for everything? Just put money into it. Look at all the wasted funding that was. Look at all the wasted money that was spent by the government in the USAID.
Right now.
Well, let's not get off topic. I mean, K-Dot is basically saying exactly what, I kind of said earlier is, we have to come up with a solution. If the solution is a new category that's specific in order to be inclusive to everybody, then so be it. Or if the answer is the boys, male sex has to compete with male sex. Your DNA has to compete with your DNA. Or K-Dot offered a third option is we make sure scientifically that the testosterone, the estrogen, and everything meets up. We're going to do it like weightlifters, man. You got to be within that certain height. You have to be within that certain weight class, so on and so forth to compete, which is kind of what a lot of us are saying is it can feel from a female perspective like we are losing out on something. And maybe... I'm not saying that women cannot compete with men. Like I know plenty of very badass women, especially in the military, that can absolutely compete. However, I know if K-Dot and I were to wrestle, he would overpower me. Point blank, period. My center of gravity is different. His center of gravity is different. I can guarantee you he could probably throw me up in the air if he wanted to. There are just biological differences for men and women. Obviously, I'm not talking about like short stature people, like short stature men. I'm talking about ordinary men, ordinary women. Average height for a male is almost 6 feet in America. I'm 5'7". They're going to overpower me in height. They're going to overpower me in weight. My center of gravity is different. My upper body strength is not as good. Their femurs are going to be longer. There are all of these things that are going to be different. I know K-Dot could overpower me. However, I think it may be worth, in order to be inclusive, and to give some concessions, that we do the testing needed to see if it is applicable.
Who is we?
With certain amount of wet.
Who's we?
The government.
I don't want to pay for that. Why do I have to pay for that?
There's a reason why
the thing is when we vote on these issues,
there's a reason why there's no women in the NFL. There's a reason why there's no women in, for example, the NHL.
This is exactly the kind
or
of
F1 or anything like that, because we know that there's differences. Like Caitlin Clark could not beat LeBron James.
Brother, listen, we're not.
That's known, and we had the same thing. That's why we had like the Paralympics, because we know there's a difference between people.
Yes, we know there's a difference between people. That's why we said if we put money into the science and get an actual answer and say, hey, we can include you, or hey, we can include you, or just, hey, We got to figure out some other way that maybe women who are open to compete against trans athletes because they want say you had like the Algerian boxer that everyone swore up and down was trans and turns out she wasn't trans. She's whooping every woman's ass from here to kingdom fucking come, right? Let's say she wants to she can't fight men, but let's say she fights trans athletes now, right? We start a small league and we start a co-ed league of trans athletes and women who want stiffer competition because they happen to dominate female sports. There's ways to do this. We just don't have to say, no, it's stupid because I don't believe in it. Let's not look at it. That's a dumb way of doing things. We're human beings. We have invested money into lesser things to get stupider answers.
Yeah, but this is like women's rights.
Hold on. Slim, I know you've been waiting. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. First of all, what's up, chat?
What's going on,
everybody? But yeah, man, this conversation is cringing because we talking about it like it's normal. I don't believe it's a normal thing. I definitely believe it's a mental thing. The gentleman said earlier regarding creating their own league. I would definitely be down for that because essentially they created their own world and they brought us into their world and they actually forced us into their world. There's guys getting canceled because of what they don't want their child to believe if he's a boy. There's parents going to prison because their young daughter wants to transition, and if they live in a leftist state, they actually get chastised for that. Like, this shit is really, really driving me insane because we're all human on here and we all should have some sense of logic to understand that, yes, there's only two genders.
Preach,
period.
brother, preach.
Whatever you want to be or whatever you believe you are, that's fine. Thumbs up, do that. But do not try to convince me that this is reality. That's where the problem lies. You can do your touching the booty stuff over there, fine. There's straight men that don't agree with it. You can't be mad at us because we want to continue to be straight. So create your trans world, trans sports, just like this, transgender. Everything is trans this. Why can't it be trans sports? Fine. But don't come into the women's NBA and you're a transgender guy and you want to dunk on these women and think that's equal. That's stupid. Like, this world has become so stupid, it's insane to even be a part of this shit. Seriously. That's all I got, man. I mean, I'm just keeping it real with y'all. I just want you guys to understand. And K-Dot, I love you, bro, but I don't believe in science before God. I don't believe in science before the Creator. Science has nothing to do with God and how we were created.
That's just not how the world.
Woman,
That's just not how the world.
That's the order.
That's just not how the world works. And
what do you mean it's not how the world works? It's only two genders.
Hold on one second.
That's how the world works.
Before we get into this. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm not continuing the conversation. I just want to say something. We got 250 people in here, man. We under 5K likes, man. If y'all could tap the screen when we get to 10K likes, that keeps the new party on the For You page so we continue this conversation. There's a lot of people in here with a lot of different views, and we want to be able to include people's voices to get the ideas out there. Everybody wants to be heard. If y'all could just show the love. The taps are free. TikTok likes its taps. And if you agree with anybody on the panel, go ahead and give them a follow.
Bring somebody else up. Keep going, Kate. Out my bad.
Yeah, no problem. Give them a follow. If you got the extra coins to spare, give them some of that because it all helps everybody here grow. We appreciate everybody, man. Thank y'all for the love, and let's get back to the conversation.
Yeah, I'm a year with that. Go ahead. Somebody else can go.
Go ahead, B10, and you've been waiting a while. B10 and Sullivan, I think.
Hey, how you doing? This right here is crazy. A lot of people have been using the example of sports that their kids play with, like the rec and stuff. Okay, when you sign up for a sport with like the rec and stuff of that nature, you know, you're signing up for co-ed sports. Okay, now that's different than actual. Hey, we're going to have a soccer team. Hey, we're going to have a basketball team. I mean, for years, it's been boys or girls. And I coach soccer, okay? and I've coached girls teams, I've coached boys teams, and my fastest girl, my quickest girl, probably couldn't beat my average boy. Okay, so I don't understand, because like I said, genetically, there's a difference. There's a difference. It isn't right for athletes or whatnot to compete in certain sports all their lives than somebody who is genetically stronger, bigger, faster, can come in here and take over that sport. That's not right. I hear people saying, "Well, that's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair. Life's not fair." I
For
mean,
sure.
so
My bad. Typical boy mom, my bad. You've been waiting a long time. I forgot you were even down there. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead. My bad. Sorry.
So I might start crying because I have 3 boys, as my name shows, but I referee soccer. I coach high school soccer. I coach a travel girls soccer, by the way. I coach a travel girls soccer, and I run a girls intramural program. To sit here and have men who have never once stepped in a woman's athlete's shoe sit there and say, well, only 3 women out of 3 trans out of 24 won something big, is the biggest slap in the face. Because I will tell you right now, mediocre boys who can't get first are coming down to women's sports. Well, where are those mediocre girls that I fight for every day to not choose their boyfriends and quit sports and go do their nails, but sit there and actually want to play a sport? Where do those mediocre girls go when their spot is now denied? When they are being forced to get kicked off? And yes, I have seen it already. I have cried with a girl who quit because she literally said there's no point. That is the saddest thing. Man, to sit there and tell me, oh, 3 out of 24 made it and won a trophy. Okay, well, about the 3, 4, 5, 6 women who missed that spot that won. What about that second place winner who worked her butt off for years to try to show that women can actually do it? Yes, women, some 1% of women play in men's sports, but you don't see them be the quarterback. They're the punter. They're the kicker. You don't see them being the catcher. They're the pitcher, probably an outfielder. So I hate hearing, oh, well, it's only 3. No, because you know what? Those 3 men just took so much from women that you don't understand. My team here in Philadelphia was the first women's team to ever play beach sand soccer and actually win something. We were in papers. We were everything. Now it's a huge thing here. And to just get that tiny little sliver of that 15 minutes of the fame was the greatest thing. Our area has a flag football team that just won, and they had that 15 minutes of fame. The Eagles showed them. Now it's actually becoming a sport. And you know what's sad? That I know for a heartbeat that transgenders are going to get that spot. Those girls who are fighting to get this flag football going are going to eventually lose. Because a male who, a biologically born male, is going to take one of their spots. And that mediocre girl who is just barely getting on that team is going to lose that spot. And where does she go? Because if she transgenders into a boy, she doesn't know where to go. Boys rule sports. So for us women who are everything in our power, I have 3 boys. Do you know how many of their games I missed this year to make sure I was at that girls' soccer game, to make sure I was coaching them, to make sure they still had a team? That is what we are giving up. I had played college, and the only time I ever hurt myself was when I chose to play on a co-ed team, and I tore my patella, my ACL, both meniscuses, and I straightened my MCL. And that was against a guy who just kept pushing me, and I couldn't push him back, and I went, and my leg gave out. That's the only time that I ever had to have a surgery or anything that actually, I got punched in the face by a girl, but that's what we do. But I never had something tear or rip until I chose to go up against a biological boy. So K-Dot, you to sit there and say science, 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 I can tell you right now, I am fighting for a girl that's big. And I'll tell you right now, I couldn't push myself against a mediocre boy. And I played goalie. And I'll tell you right now, the shots that I took against these mediocre boys were 10 times harder than the best soccer player I ever saved, and a girl who's now playing a D1. So please don't sit there and tell me you want science when we actually have facts and actions actions speak louder than science. I will tell you right now, for you to sit there at all and say, oh, well, we want this, well, maybe, you're sitting there saying, well, they're still Americans. Well, we biologically born women are still Americans. We have a voice that's
That's
being
why I
shut
said,
down. We
you're
have
done.
a voice.
Okay.
We
Can
do not
you let
want
someone respond to
any,
you now, lady?
I'm still speaking, but
I
we
don't know,
do
but you're
not
going
want
around in circles now, and I don't feel
biologically
bad for you.
born males to play with us unless we choose to do it. And I will
I
tell
don't
you right now,
don't
you're
feel
not
bad
going
for
to find
you.
many women who choose to have that.
Don't
Especially
really
look at
care.
Caitlyn Jenner, who literally made the comment that
Women
now
wanted to
she
choose
has
for abortion,
nothing.
and y'all took that away.
Caitlyn Jenner has nothing left in her, and even she said she can throw a frisbee much further than a woman who has
Don't
everything
really
still,
care.
like has the same thing. They don't.
Don't care.
Exactly. You don't care because you're a man and you never
Don't
walked
care.
our footsteps, but you
Right.
talk a big
Y'all
talk.
talk about
That's
choice, but then
ridiculous.
when women wanted the
That
choice
is
to,
ridiculous.
y'all talk about choice, but then when women wanted
That's
the choice to
ridiculous.
abortion, y'all were all about taking that right away from them. So now then when we talk about your choice in sports, now it matters. No, I don't give a fuck. Sometimes you're just not going to get your option. And if you're mediocre, oh well,
It's
step your
funny.
fucking
So, but
skills up. If you're
here's the
mediocre,
funny
get
thing.
better at the
But here's the
sport.
funny
If
thing.
you're
It's only
mediocre,
to
get
you.
better.
It's only
Oh well.
it's only
Oh well.
one-sided to you
Oh
because
well.
men rule sports. Men rule
Oh well.
sports. So if you guys
Oh
can rule
well.
everything, that's what you
Oh well.
want.
Get
That's
better.
what you want.
If
But
you're
we women are not
mediocre,
going
get
to
better.
sit
Maybe
down.
some
We are not
competition
going
will
to
be
sit
good for y'all.
anymore. And I will tell you right now, women are going to get up there and they're going to. The
Oh
women's
well.
basketball,
Some
they are now
competition might be
getting up
good for
there and
y'all.
they are proving it. Flag football, we are coming up. And I'll tell you right now, it'll be my dying day if I see a man take a girl's spot again.
Okay.
I
Like I said,
literally am going to fight for the rest of my life.
Gray, I can't
Okay,
respond
all
to
right,
this woman
for
Disgusting that
sure.
speaking
you
while we're
think it's
talking,
okay.
bro.
All right, time. I
Like
got
I
time.
said,
Black, there's other people
Go
waiting.
for it.
Black man, I know you've been waiting for a while. What do you have to say about what you've been hearing?
Yeah, man. I just think that, like, after a certain age, when a boy go through male puberty, it's no looking back. Like, it's certain things that just don't change, no matter how much we could do the science about it. But my bone density don't change. My muscle density don't change. Like the MMA boxer, he was a Marine and he went to MMA and he cracked a woman's skull, but he met all the testosterone requirements. He met all these things that were requirement, but he hit the woman so hard he cracked her skull. So I think after a certain age, 12, whenever a male get through going through puberty, I think that's a point of no return, and that's unfair to young ladies out here that, like the typical mom said, they out here training for years. Like, I have a niece, she put up, in basketball, like 51 points. That's my high school record. But what if it was a 6'5" guy like me on the team? Do you think she would have been able to put up that 50 something points? So I think that I don't know about being wrong or whatever, but they do not need to compete with girls at, like, after a certain age, it's over with. Just get your own section, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, we got we got all these trans. Get y'all trans sports too. Get y'all go over here and compete. Y'all want to wear do your thing, but just go over here where your own at and leave those girls' sports alone. Don't just leave them alone. I have a lot of nieces in my family.
And also,
I don't want some
also in
guy
the
taking their
somebody
opportunity.
said soccer. And by the way, somebody just said that soccer doesn't give that many things. When I say I tore my ACL, scientifically, there you go, K-Dot. Scientifically noted that high school girls soccer is the #1 ACL tear. Why? Because our hamstrings and things are not as strong and are not the same. So and it's even before quarterbacks. Quarterbacks, if I remember correctly, are ranked second for ACL tears. High school girls soccer is the #1 reason for ACL tears. So just putting that out there. And that's why women have different bodies. Women have different muscles. So that is another thing. I was also told in Einstein Hospital that my hamstrings were not very strong. And high school girls soccer do not have strong hamstrings.
So to make my position clear, once again, like I said, was to put money into the science to finally put an answer in this situation today. If trans kids in high schools create an unfair environment for the gender that they identify with, then I am all for not allowing those trans athletes to take advantage and take from the girls or the boys in that sport. I've said this 1,000 times. But if it is shown that if you allow them to transition and they are on the same level, then there's no argument to be made. And if the sport can safely be played and everyone's on the same level, then there it is. There's going to be some trans athletes who excel. There's going to be some trans athletes who are mediocre in either gendered sport. That has happened already. I think there were 5 trans athletes in the Olympics this year. None of them placed. They all got beat out by their female counterparts because the female Olympian athletes were better than them. It happens every day. Y'all only want to talk about when the trans athletes win, but a lot more trans athletes lose as well. There's a female to male boxer who was winning some fights, just got his ass knocked out and lost, I think, a title fight because the male boxer, the biological male they were going against, was bigger, better, stronger. It happens. They lose. They don't just come in and dominate.
Did he crack anyone's skull?
Exactly.
Did he crack anyone's? He knocked a bunch of people out. You don't crack people's skull in boxing. Like
that Marine guy, I'm telling you.
Answer me this.
Again, if the Marine guy, if I'm answering, hold on, black man.
The mediocre boy.
Black man. I'm talking to black man. Please wait, typical.
He hit the woman so hard.
To answer your question, black man, do I think that situation was unfair and maybe the science behind the testosterone levels and things of that nature need to be adjusted? Yes, absolutely. That one instance was terrible for that female boxer, but she openly chose to take on that challenge. It wasn't forced upon her. She wasn't made to do it. She agreed to take on that fight, and it was the one fight. Did she get horrifically injured? Yes. It is a combat sport. Those injuries are part of the sport. She chose to do that. That's it.
Coolio, you've been waiting for a while.
Chose to do that, not being forced.
Coolio, you've been waiting for a while. For there.
How many women have chosen?
1 second, typical. I think you got bad service. Coolio, what do you think about what you've been hearing?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, from what I've been hearing, I do agree that there should be a limit to how much a transgender woman should be on her medication before she gets to be in women's sports. But I don't believe that majority of transgender women are taking away women's sports like that. Medically speaking, transgender women aren't even that high up in women's sports when it comes to boxing, swimming, basketball, or anything of a sort. They're medically just not on the level of biological women, if you want to go to that point.
So what if KD wants to transition? What if Kevin Durant wants to transition right now?
If Kevin Durant if Kevin Durant wanted to train, I guarantee you Kevin Durant and Brittany Griner would probably have a decent
Brittany Griner can't see Kevin Durant's shoestrings. I'm sorry.
What makes you think that?
I'm sorry.
Excuse me? But if Kevin Durant wanted to go and play women's basketball, he has to wait about 2 to 3 year time period for his testosterone level to decrease. So he can't just up and play with her, or any woman for that matter.
His hand size will not change.
His bone density would change. His
muscle,
lungs, all of that would shrink. If he started taking estrogen, if Kevin Durant started taking estrogen right now, his bone density, his muscle density, or muscle capacity, his lungs, all of that stuff would shrink.
None of that changes.
Yes, it does. Your bone density does change when you're on hormones.
So
yes,
Caitlyn Jenner still beating women right now. What's that?
Caitlyn Jenner still
has nothing.
Still beating women.
No testosterone. She has nothing, and said that she can still beat women.
She says that. Has she proven that?
Yes, she has actually.
Okay, now Caitlyn Jenner
still hitting golf balls much further.
Caitlyn Jenner is still what? Is she beating other pro athletes like she was, or is she beating mediocre athletes?
Okay, so there you go. A mediocre man can transgender and play a women's sport. So
he has 20 years as a high point.
Just took a spot from
Is Caitlyn Jenner an Olympian? No, you're not listening.
You just said no. You are. You just said a mediocre woman. So where's that mediocre woman supposed to play?
You're comparing Caitlyn Jenner, a pro athlete, to a mediocre woman. Caitlyn Jenner is still wants a pro athlete with better training, better muscle memory, better experience than the average athlete. Of course, she could go in there and beat out some mediocre non-professional.
A fully transgender swimmer who was ranked over 600 in the men became number one, not just by a second,
You on
by
the chat live
minutes.
talking about
What are you
Trump
talking
executive
about?
order.
Where are all
No,
those
she
women
didn't.
who are missing
Can I
out?
ask K-Dot a question?
Go ahead, Tara. You haven't had a chance. Go ahead.
Thank you. K-Dot, how are you today?
Yes, please. I'm doing great. How can I ask? What question is it?
Okay, do you honestly think that by saying this, that if I had the training behind me, the skill set behind me for years and years and years since I was a kid and decided to go in a ring with you, do you think I could actually win? K-Dot?
1 second. Give me 1 second.
You don't have much time.
Go ahead, Slim. Go ahead.
No, you said so. If you took testosterone for years and years and years, is that what you
No,
said?
not testosterone. I don't take anything like that, so nothing
I
like
thought
that.
I thought the hypothetical was that. Just give me a quick synopsis of what you said again.
There's no hormones. There's no. Hang on a minute. There's no nothing. I am a regular female woman.
I am 6'3". I'm 300 pounds, and I can bench 280 pounds. There are women right now who would be shorter than me.
I'm not saying right now. I'm asking for me. If I can go in a ring with you and beat you with the mindset and the skill training and the hours and hours I put in.
Is there a chance you could beat me? Sure. Is it large? Is it even necessary? I would probably beat you without training. Yes, of course.
Then there's your answer. Mentioned
no, that's
being,
not the same
women's
thing.
sports.
It's not
yes,
the same
there's your
thing.
answer.
No, that's
you
not
answered
the
it,
same
and you
thing,
cannot
Tara.
contradict yourself, sir. You answered it.
I can't respond if you're just going to keep talking over me.
First of all, I was answering back to what you said.
I can't respond if you keep talking over me. Again, if it was me versus you, you sound like you might be in your 30s, 40s, maybe even older. I'm in my mid-30s. Again, I can bench 280 pounds. Of course, I would drop you, no problem. Whatever we were doing, whether it was a race, wrestling, boxing, it would be easy. That's not a question. It's not the same thing. Okay, there are plenty.
It is. I'm going to rebuttal.
Ma'am, I'm landing here. I just explained to you that there were trans athletes in the
Thanks
Olympics.
for coming to bring somebody else up.
There were trans athletes in the Olympics that lost to their female counterparts because they do not qualify. They weren't good enough to beat out the biological women. They got their asses whooped. They tried out for the Olympics and didn't even make the qualifiers as trans athletes. So what do you have to say to that then? Yes, please answer that scenario.
Let me say. Yeah. So your original point was that no, they cannot win against you. Second of all, that is why we don't want them in women's sports. Third of all, you take everything under the sun to train and whatever you got to do. So hell yeah, you're going to beat me hands down because you're a man, not a transgender woman.
All right. Well, thank you for that uninspiring comment.
I think the point is you keep saying some women, some women, some women. There's a lot more women than some. Where you can sit there and say some women can get into a man sport. Don't you get it? You're sitting there talking about like Serena Williams, who's the best female tennis player to ever win, to play, said that she could never win against.
Right, and now y'all want to prop up Serena Williams, but y'all were calling Serena Williams a man for years. Women didn't even accept. Especially white women, didn't even accept Serena Williams for years, saying she was a man, wanted her tested. Y'all put that woman through the ringer to be able to play her sport, and now you want to use her as a benchmark? Get out my face.
No, let me ask you a question, K-Dot. Hang on a minute. Let me ask you this, K-Dot. Why do men want to be in women's sports so bad? I mean, can't they have their own identical sport thing?
Tara,
why do they got to be in a women's sport so bad?
I'm going to say this one more time.
I've already listened to you, sir.
Okay,
I'm saying, and I'm asking you
why are you asking me the same question?
Because I'm asking, it's a valuable question.
Again, I'm going to say it one more time. I think the American government should take time and money to invest in what the answer can be. Do we develop their own league? Are they allowed to
They
play with
should
the sport?
develop their own league.
Okay,
Absolutely.
you're gonna keep talking every time you ask me a question, because then that's not how our
Because you
conversation
keep
works.
interrupting me too.
I
So
let
yes,
you
I'm
finish your
gonna
question. I let you finish your question.
go ahead.
Again. Okay, thank you. Again, I said the American government needs to put time and money into the science to figure out what we should do with these individuals. At the end of the day, they are our fellow Americans, and they deserve that. They've grown in numbers and population over the last few years. They're less than 1% of the people. I understand that. So it's not going to take much time
Why
to get an
waste
answer.
all that money?
All right.
Why
Okay.
waste all that money?
Time out, guys. Time out. Joyce, you've been waiting. How do you feel about everything that you're hearing?
Useless boomers.
Joyce,
no, we smart boomers.
We smart boomers.
Go ahead, Joyce. Go ahead.
Yeah.
We don't follow leads, sir.
Okay.
Go ahead, Joyce. Talk.
Yeah, I feel like Dame Not said, there should be programs to be all inclusive. Even as these execution orders are going out, let there be alternatives to help drive inclusion for this set of people. Yes, it's true that being a part of the teams taking part in a woman's game, it's not fair on the natural gender. But then, even as they take off those opportunities from them, let them create their own sports so that they can also be included too and not feel left out.
I'm with that as well. If that's what the science and investment into it discovers, then let's do that. But at the end of the day, we can't just continue to ignore these people and tell them they're this,
Yeah,
they're
we
that,
can.
they're this, and they're that. And they are our fellow Americans.
And they can go to intramural.
They are our
will
fellow
bring somebody
Americans.
else
They can go to an intramural league.
You know why we can? Agenda 47, sir.
Ma'am, I don't care nothing about that.
Amen. They can go into intramural. They don't need to go into the women's sports who work their butts off. They can go into an intramural league. They have them everywhere. I run an intramural league, and they are co-ed, and they choose. And guess what? Most of the time when moms or dads of the girls are signed up, find out it's co-ed, sorry, we're not going to play. Our daughter doesn't want to play in sports. I never heard that from a boy. And I have hundreds
And
of
why
kids who
now
come through my
all of a
intramural
sudden?
program every year.
All right,
Exactly.
Zeke, you've been begging to come up. What do you have to say?
Hold on, y'all can hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, man, I'm just like, everybody else seems logical, and no offense to you, K-Dot, but I'm just really not understanding any of this of what you're saying as far as like, I just don't understand. I want to hear your take. I don't know if y'all have already talked about this. I'm kind of late, but like, I want to hear your take on natural birth. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's your science behind birth? Like, why are when someone has sex and someone gets pregnant, why for all this is the beginning of time are there only boys and girls coming out? Like, is that from science or is that from something supernatural?
So people like to conflate natural born sex with gender. Sex and gender aren't the same thing. People think because you're a male, you're a man, and because you're female, you're a woman. And generally, for the most part, 99% of human history, that has been the truth, right? If you're technically the truth. If you were born a boy, you identify as a man later on in life. If you're born a girl, you identify as a woman going throughout all life. I get that. But all throughout history, trans individuals have existed. They're in Africa, China, Japan, Croatia, wherever you want to go. All throughout history, these individuals who were considered two-spirited or third gendered, they're all over the place. They're all throughout history. They have existed. Only throughout the recent history of just like people wanting to get away from it because they considered it a sin or whatever. I don't want to get into the religious debate with anybody. They started to conjure up the propaganda that these people don't exist and we have to get away from them because blah, 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 right? But they have been here since the dawn of time. So since the science at one point was geared more towards a religious view, right? That, because Christians are scientists and Catholics are scientists, Muslims are scientists, people put their beliefs into their science, and that's not unbiased. Okay, so when we talk about, I use this example all the time, right? A chair is normally something with four legs, a seat, a flat surface, and a back where it'll support me as I sit on it. But if I sit down on my kitchen counter, I've now repurposed my kitchen counter from being where I prepare food or would eat something to a chair. It's just the name you assign to it outside of what it can do. So me being male, yes, on a scientific level, you take my DNA, you look at my bone structure, my bone density, my pelvic area, they would be able to identify me as male. But there's males in other species, male fish, male horse, male rhinos. None of them identify as men. It's not a thing that has to connect. That's
Can
what
I
it's
ask you a
just.
question?
It's.
Right. Hold
I'm
on. Hold
almost
on.
done.
Let
I'm
me
gonna
say
land right
something.
here.
Let me say something,
It's
Tara.
just a thing
Hold on.
Yes,
that's
sir.
just a thing
Yes,
that
sir.
human beings made up to say, okay, if you're male, you're a man. If you're female, you're a woman. I get that those things align most of the time, but gender is just a spectrum thing that is a thing that we
Okay.
made up to assign. Go
So
ahead.
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. So honestly, right, man, you're right. Man, woman is just a term, right? So we could have called men and women anything, right?
Yes,
But what's the
yes.
difference? What's the difference, right? We could have made any name we wanted. But the difference between these genders, right? Or y'all say that don't exist or whatever, I don't know. The difference, right, though, is someone's born with a penis and someone's born with a vagina.
Right.
So
But does
how
that
is
make them? Is that what makes them a man or a woman? Because if a
Yes.
man,
yes,
hold on. Okay, so let me ask
yes,
this question. So let
Yes.
me, then,
You,
if that's
you
what you
yes.
believe,
that
now I'm
was
going to ask one more
retarded.
question. I'm going to ask one more question. If a person is born without, if a person loses or born without their genitalia, functioning genitalia, are they still not the gender they identify with?
DNA.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, that's
exactly.
I mean,
dysphoria.
Okay,
chromosomes,
That's
depending on what
dysphoria.
so
chromosome.
then
Wait a minute.
DNA,
That's
chromosomes,
dysphoria gender, and that's
right?
very rare for that to
If you,
happen. So
it's
not
right.
all of y'all are like that.
So now, if you're going to say chromosomes as well, there are people born with not just XY or XX chromosomes. There are people born intersex with different chromosomes.
Okay,
That
let
right
me.
there would prove to you that there's a spectrum of genders.
And that's very rare. Very rare,
And
I
sir.
said it was
cool,
Okay.
less
right?
than 1% of the
Time out for a second,
population.
guys. Time out. Time out. We're almost at 10K. Like the live. Get us on the For You page. Me, Slim, K Dot, we're all on the podcast. We go live on YouTube at 8 p.m. Eastern on at the new party. Joyce, I know you soft spoken. I see you keep trying to talk. I know everybody's jumping on K Dot, but Joyce agrees with K Dot. Go ahead, Joyce. What were you
Joyce,
saying?
you agree?
So no, I don't totally agree with
No, she
him.
doesn't agree exactly.
I
She agreed with
see,
being different. But
I see that it's with humans we have this gender bias. You don't see two male dogs mating with themselves, or you don't see two male chickens. I
Come
think
on
happens
now.
all the time.
where we are born, we already have genders that we identify with. And so that's already a straight cut. When you come with your female genitals, you are a female. When you come with your male genitals, you are a male. I think these other genders that we have are human form, because even with animals who aren't as intelligent as we are as human beings, they know the difference between a male dog and a female dog. I've never in my life seen a male dog hopping on a male dog.
Me
Neither
neither.
have I seen a female dog hopping on a female dog. So I think these other gender biases are human made gender biases. And so I feel it's straight up either you're a male or you're a female.
Amazing. Well said. Well said.
That's just the
I
identification.
disagree with that. I'm going to say this real quick. You sit here and you say, why do they want to be women so bad and have to take hormone blockers and all that? If God created them, why can't they be who they are instead of the insecurities to want to fit in with
they
people and
are
allow
being who
them to
they are.
be what they're not?
Because they are being what they are. If God created them, God created trans people. God created the very thing you see as a mental
Do you
illness or
know what
affliction.
happened in Sodom and Gomorrah? Do you know what happened in Sodom and
He
Gomorrah? Because you
created
brought
all of
that
those
up.
people. He
You
created
brought
all those
that up,
people.
and we can
And
go deep
again,
with Sodom and
I
Gomorrah,
don't
sir.
care about your fictional story. It's not fact. It's just a
Exactly. You
fairy
don't
tale.
care.
It's a
Created
fairy
You
tale.
think
humans.
they're fairy tales, but you're going to meet your maker
You
one
have
day,
He doesn't
sir.
care about
mythos.
women.
He did
He
not
doesn't
This
care
create
is
about
not
trans.
again.
that just shows.
This is not a Christian nation. We do not abide by
Sir,
Christian
I am a
law.
Christian every day
I
of my
don't
life. That's why
care.
I'm
I
asking
don't
these
care.
questions.
That's
Right. And
personal
You
listen,
choice.
don't
it
care.
has nothing to
Exactly.
do with how people live their life. I don't care about Sodom and Gomorrah.
Okay,
I don't care
Dot,
about the
but we
ark.
don't have to accept other people's
Listen,
lifestyle
yeah.
choices
No, you
either.
don't. But you can't force people to accept the way you want it. Duh.
And you
And
should
we
have
are
forced
not
women to
going
have
to
to
But
like
accept a
you
men.
lot
can't
of
force people
things.
to
All right.
ignore the
All
facts.
right. Time out, guys. Time out.
Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. I'm landing my plane. Before there
Crash it,
was
please.
LGBTQT, there was a God. Remember that, sir.
He
And I
created all
land
the
my
gay
plane.
people.
Okay.
No, he destroyed a lot of
Why
them.
do he keep saying that he created the gay people? No,
Did
he
God create
created
every
man.
person on earth?
If you want,
Did God
yes,
create
He
every? Answer the
created a
question.
man and a female. He created a man and a female.
God
Let me
created
Did
say this,
God
K
everyone,
Dot.
create every
and
Hold
human
on,
being
guys.
on earth?
our
Hold on,
hearts
guys.
became perverse.
Hold on.
Yes, he
Typical boy
created.
mom. We do this every 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. You gave a good saying on the show. You made a lot of stuff. Come back tomorrow, Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. We would love to have you back. I'm gonna bring somebody else up. Say your last remarks.
I just have one
What
question.
the
So
hell?
if it's okay, just real quick, if it's okay for biological men to play in women's sports, should we mantle the Paralympics and just let them play in the regular Olympics?
Sure, why not?
Because we're saying that women have a disadvantage, and we're saying that we have a disability because we are not disability, we are different than men. Should we just tell Paralympics, sorry, we can't, you guys have to go compete against regular athletes who don't have a disability, who don't have anything different?
If they want to do
That's
that,
why
sure,
things
let
are
them.
split, sweetheart,
If they
because
want to do
there
that,
are
sure.
differences in people.
Okay,
There are some,
so
exactly, they have the choice, but they don't, because they're not the
They
same.
have the choice, but they
Because
don't.
there's differences in people, whether it is
Yeah.
think
You
differently
choose
or
to do
something
that.
happened to you. So if you're okay with
And we're
dismantling the
not letting them.
Paralympics, that tells you right there.
I
So
have
if
my
you can't
last
answer
words
that,
before I
then
just go.
you don't understand.
I'm not answering. It's a
Thank you
final
guys
statement.
for
You have to
having
let
me
people
up,
get
Okay,
off.
and women keep
yeah,
going.
Yeah, give me a
okay.
follow, typical, and come back again. Come back up again.
So I
Yep,
have my
already
last
have.
words before I
Already,
leave.
definitely
All
did.
right, for sure.
So I have my last words before I leave. First of all, we should know God created everyone, both gay people, both male and female. But when God
Yes, when
created
big
us,
storms
He
come in,
created
I
us
heard
as
2 days
male
beforehand.
and female. But because of the perverseness of our hearts, we became perverse by perversion, and that was what began at the rise of another gender. But God created us male and female. So whatever thing you see today is born out of perversion, and perversion is not of God.
Exactly.
Perversion is of the devil. The devil
Come
came
on
and
now.
sowed tares of perverse, sowed seeds of perversion, and that's what has perverted the world. So yes, God created both male, both female, and people who identify as whether transgender, whatever they want to identify. But God created all of us. But He didn't create transgenders as transgenders. He created us as male and female. But the devil came and sowed the seeds of perversion, and that's what has begun to spread into this world. So let's get it straight here.
And the thing is too is we don't hate the people that is transgender. We hate the sin that they do it, and that's the perversion part of it
Exactly.
all.
Yes. And the truth is that even the Bible says that the rain will fall both on the righteous and the unrighteous, because why? God is giving them time to repent. So don't think because somebody is transgender or is gay, he's lesser than you. No, God is giving them grace and giving them time to repent. So God's will is for everyone to come unto repentance and not to die in that sin. So the fact that you see some things, them having time and having opportunity, God is just extending His love to them and extending His salvation to them. And the fact that whether you're transgender, you're gay, does not mean God loves you less. God loves you, but He's giving you the grace that all may come to repentance, and that we do not die in our sin and perish in the lake of fire at the end of the end of the world. So that's what God is saying. God is extending His love to us, and for anyone who is struggling with their
Oh my
identity.
God, lady, land your crucifix.
Mary Catherine
Don't be rude, K
just
Dodd.
came up.
Hey,
We had a lot of background. Hold on one second, Zeke. Mary Catherine, are you there? Go ahead, Zeke. Oh, is she there? Go ahead, Mary Catherine.
yes.
What do you think about our conversation?
Hey, Mary.
Hey, Tara. It's interesting. Um, I really think that this wasn't a conversation before. Why is it a conversation now? That's what that's my biggest thing about it is that why now do we have this situation where people want to get into sports when they didn't? You know, I'm lost. Why now? Why now do people want to go into sports when they didn't
That
before?
Because they want to
and
really
that's
feel
what
like
they won't
women.
answer.
It makes them really feel like a woman. You know, to be competing with other women, even though you're a man. It's the illusion.
But
If they
okay,
if they've
so
got to be a
are you being
woman so
sarcastic
bad,
about that?
I'm being factual.
So no,
if they
because I'm sorry, but okay, so how do you describe feeling like a woman?
I can't. I'm a man. I can never know what it is to feel like.
Exactly. And that's exactly the same thing for a transgender that is male to female, is that that person will never really know what it's like. They have to actually look at another human being to act as, because they're never really going to know what it's like to be a woman.
Hey,
Right.
you know what?
It's
That's a
an
really good
act.
point,
It's an
Mary. Hey,
act.
Zeke, can you give me 3 things that make you feel like you're a man?
The hair on my chin, my
Mm-hmm.
testicles,
Uh-huh. And one
my
more.
testosterone.
Okay. Now, not even to be combative, none of that makes me feel like a man. I could shave my beard off tomorrow. I'm still feeling like the person I am. I could.
It's
but
gonna grow
everything you're
back.
doing is
Hold on.
science based,
Hold
sir.
on. Oh, no, but listen. If I cut my beard off tomorrow, it does not. For me, it does not validate that I am a man.
But your beard will grow back.
If I stop being able to reproduce tomorrow, it does not validate me as a man.
If I ever meet a woman with that voice, I'm running.
I know I would run. That's red flags
At the
right
end of the
there.
day, no, it doesn't make me a
God
woman either.
dang.
What I'm saying is I'm still a man without those things. I would still feel
Then
like the
why do you
man that
want
I
to?
am.
Why do they want to be women so bad,
Again,
sir? They don't have our voice
because
because
it
it's
doesn't
all
matter.
science and plastic parts.
Does every woman have the same voice? There are women out there with manlier
You don't
voices than
even
some
sound
men.
like a woman, though. That's the whole point. You're
It
forcing
doesn't
yourself
matter.
to sound like a woman,
You don't have to
and that's
sound like
silly.
anything. You don't have to. All right. You know what? I can't have conversations with people with
It's
this
No,
just
you
Well,
can't. Not
understanding.
with me.
No, because you have a basic
Not with
understanding,
me.
and you're a bigot.
No, I have
That's
a
what it is.
basic understanding that I'm awake, not awoke.
You're awake, not awoke.
Yeah.
Now you guys are
Exactly.
driving a difference between what awake and woke means.
We're not progressive woke, sir.
God damn it! I can't
Yeah,
believe people.
woke is a leftist thing. Awake
It's
is
not a leftist
a
thing.
conservative thing.
Oh,
You're
God.
awoke, sir. That's what we would
it's
Yep,
consider
beard.
awoke.
sure. Right, and you're a bigot.
I'm
Okay,
not a
for
bigot,
sure,
no,
for
sir. I'm
sure.
not.
Guys, like I said, we do this every Monday through Friday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. It was a good live, so I let it go a little bit over. Like I said, me, K-Dot, and Slim, we're a part of the new part. We got a whole bunch of other people on the cast. Nora and Mia, they were up here earlier. Please subscribe to the YouTube at the new party. I'm going to give everybody a chance to give their closing thoughts. Start with K-Dot. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, this is a nation of laws, not governed by a religious fairy tale book. So I don't care what you
We're
think
not
God
communism.
created. Hey, shut up, lady. I
Don't tell
don't
me to shut
care.
up.
Listen, I'll do it again. Shut up.
That is rude.
Yeah, I know, but stop talking while I'm talking because that's also rude. And I would have told you to shut up. See how that works?
Ladies,
Great.
run from him.
I hope they do. They're very expensive. Anyway, like I said, we are a land of laws, not governed by a fairy tale book. If you're going to sit here and say that God created everything, that means God created your devil, the man that causes all this perversion and things that you talk about. At the end of the day, it is the fault of your own imaginary bearded man in the sky that these people exist, and you refuse to acknowledge that they're here. You would rather have them sit in the corner and not exist and not express themselves because it makes you feel safer. But as human beings evolve, because that's what we do, evolve, we have to put time and finance and thought into other things. We are not just, if we were meant, I can go on forever, but at the end of the day, these people exist and they're here, and we owe it to them to find out what we can and can't do for them. It's not always going to be, we don't have to treat everyone fair, but we have to try and be as equal as possible. At the end of the day, like I said, if it turns out that it's not safe for girls to compete with trans athletes and it's not safe for trans men to compete with actual men, biological men, then so be it. But there needs to be an answer found so we can finally put this thing to fucking bed and we can stop acting like these people don't exist. That's all I've ever standed on. But the rest of you would just rather have them sit there and act like they aren't equal and they don't deserve that. And that right there, to me, makes me feel like you are full of hate and a lack of being able to understand. And I'll land there.
Well, I don't think it was.
Yo, can I say something before you leave? I know you're leaving.
Hold on, we'll let everybody get their closing thoughts. Tara, what's your closing thoughts?
First of
I just
all,
got on,
man
bro.
and woman are not equal, period. That's a mentality, and that is a lifestyle that people are choosing and to think and to follow the crowd. That's not thinking on your own and being a leader. Second of all, you sit here and you talk about this like it is a normalized thing. We never have normalized this. And we don't have to deal with safe spaces no more. We under Trump, that's all gone. And we will say what we want to when we want to. And you don't know me to assume anything about me, sir. I only have just met you on this live. So don't sit there and tell me to shut up and say I'm a bigot when you don't know me, period. And I'll land my plane.
Zeke, what's your closing thoughts?
Oh, come on. Yeah, I just think, I don't know. I have more to say, but I know we're going to close out. Just, I don't know. It's
Follow
not
me, Zeke.
normal.
I'm going live tonight. Follow me, bro. I'll be live at 9:30.
No, I want to say something to you, bro.
Follow me. We'll go live. I'm going live tonight.
I don't want to follow you. Trust me. I just want to say something to you, bro. That's what it is, bro. You're a cornball, bro. Hey, can I say something before I leave? Because he's a cornball. First of all, I think he's been bullied by girls in his lifetime. That's why he's agreeing with all this transgender stuff. Okay, there's only
you want to ask my
there's only a man and a woman. Okay, all right. Okay, there's a Boy Scout and a Girl Scout. Okay. You know what? You're a punk, dude. You're a punk. You're over here bullying girls. You're a bully, bro. You're bullying these ladies here, talking all this junk. But anyways, like I said, all right, you must be between 25 and 30. You're indoctrinated. You are the ones that we call woke. You're the ones that have been blinded by these colleges and everything. Okay, you are a transgender mentally. Okay, all right. You've been beat up by women, bro. All right.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and for you to sit here and disrespect these women, bro, you a cornball for that. Okay, you got a lot of mouth. You're disrespectful. Okay, and for you to say this, that all scientists are the cause of evilness, bro. Okay, then you put religion in it. Okay, religion. When you're in religion, all right. Okay, we don't go by science. We don't go by science.
You're interrupting him.
No, we don't go by because he's a bully. You know what I'm saying? He's a bully. He don't bully me. Okay, but scientists, all right. We don't. When you're religious, you have faith in God. Okay, we don't believe in science. We believe, yes, and what back in the days, whatever, dinosaurs, whatever you think what it is that you want to believe in. But I believe in God, okay? I believe God only put a woman and a man on this earth, okay? Adam and Eve, okay?
So you're
but like I said,
you talk to an imaginary man in the sky.
Yeah, you want me to stop now. But you lucky my man has to go, okay? But I had to tell you that, bro. You are a trans woman.
Words.
You are a trans, okay?
Yep.
Trans people have a mental problem. Okay, most of them are autistic, bro. Okay, they have a mentalness. Okay, they're mostly artistic, right? And we need to help them.
Super artistic.
Okay, we need to help them, all right? And to put money into trans. You said put money to find out. We don't need to put money in transgender stuff. We just need to get like somebody said before. We just need to find a sport for transgenders. I'm not against gay people, LGBTQ. I'm not against them. You want to play sports, put them all together in the same ring. Transgender against transgender, swimming, boxing, whatever. Good for you. I would love to watch it. I would give them more ratings because I think it's going to be funny.
I bet you do watch transgender people already. I'm sure you do.
I know me and you face to face, you'll be smacking, I'll be punching. Because you're transgender by mind, bro.
Let's meet up face to face then.
Okay?
Let's meet up face to face.
You're a trans man.
Let's meet up face to face.
You
are
a soft man.
Going too far.
You are a part of.
Are you in New York City?
You are part of. I'm from Connecticut. I'm from Connecticut. I'm from Connecticut. I'm right next door to you.
Let's do it.
I'm from Connecticut. But listen to me this. Listen to here. Listen.
Let's meet up.
Listen to this, bro. Listen to me, bro.
Where do you want to meet?
My bad. Hold on.
Where do you want to meet?
Where
do you want to meet?
I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm not finished with you, bro. I'm not finished with you, but I'm letting you know right now.
Where do you want to meet?
You are the problem in America.
Where do you want to meet up?
You are a Biden and a Kamala supporter. You love tampons in your bathroom. I bet you got tampons in your bathroom.
To meet up.
You love tampons in the bathroom.
Okay,
you like to play with little kids. If you got kids, I hope when you got kids. My bad, man. If you got kids, okay, no, he need to hear this, bro. This ain't too far. He's with that elite stuff. He's with that agenda stuff, bro. I bet you if you got kids, you let a transgender read a transgender book to them.
Where do you want to meet up?
Listen here.
Where do you want to meet up?
Listen, bro.
Drop a location.
Drop.
Would you like to borrow some of
You
my
know what?
makeup,
Listen,
K-Dog?
listen. Here's and people, as you can see, he is a typical Democrat. They get violence. They get
You just said
violent.
you would be punching on me.
Yeah,
You just
because
said
you
you'd be
need it,
punching
bro.
on me.
But you think I'm gonna waste
So
my
let's
time
meet
go
up
meet
so
you
you can
somewhere?
punch on me.
You
So
think I'm
drop a
gonna be
location
because
so you can
you
punch on me.
are a typical
Yes,
liberal,
come
bro.
punch. I want
Okay,
to meet up so you can
you
punch on me.
are violent. This
I
is
want you to meet. You
conservative
threaten me.
people. We don't
You
get
threaten
violent.
me.
We spew out facts. You don't have
said you would
facts,
punch
bro.
on me.
I don't
So
know you
let's
have.
meet
I
up
don't know
on
And
why
it
you got
is
your own
what it
channel.
is, sir.
Listen, I'm gonna land my plane, bro. You know what? You don't deserve to be on any type of YouTube because you
Give
are
me a
a
kiss.
part of our
Love you.
problem.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
Give me a
yes. You
kiss.
see,
Love
he's a
you.
transgender. You see that?
Yep.
You see that? He threw me a
Love you,
kiss.
big
He's a
dog.
trainer.
You're
Yo,
a real
but
man.
host, I appreciate to give you the last minutes here, bro.
Thank
But
you. Hugs and
your
kisses.
boy's a sus, bro. He's a
Hugs and
sus, bro.
kisses.
I don't even know why you roll with him. He's a sus.
know.
He's a tough man, bro.
Yep.
Talking to women
I'm
like that
waiting for
on
you to
here.
come punch on
He's
me,
a
big man.
trans-minded man.
Yep.
You are a trans-minded man.
Yep.
Anyway, God bless everybody. There's only two genders, a girl and a boy.
Love you too,
And that's
MAGA.
it, bro.
You're actually
God
kind of cute,
first.
bro.
Have
Oh,
Love
he's
you.
so
faith in
soft.
God.
Quit.
All you ladies in here, follow me, ladies, and I'm gonna show you what a real man is. Cause that dude
I
over
did,
there,
MAGA.
we already know what he is. We know what he about. He woke. He tampon man. You tampon. I'll call you K. Dot tampon man. Later, guys.
Ooh,
Land my
it's so
plane.
clever. It's so clever.
Yeah, it's
I'm
clever,
shocked.
right? Clever,
Why do you
clever.
have to be so soft on everything,
He's
K-Dog?
soft.
Damn.
He's sensitive. He's woke. That's what they are. Sensitive. You don't understand? He's a
I know
liberal.
that's right.
He's sensitive.
All right, back.
You know, if he knew where I live at, he'll burn my house.
Slim, you there?
Yo, take it easy, fellas. Have a good one.
For
You
sure.
still don't
You
want to
too.
meet up? You don't want
Thank
to
you,
meet up?
guys.
All right,
Nah, I don't want to meet you, but I don't want you to. I don't want you to do no Diddy.
Soft.
I'm not that Diddy stuff.
Scary.
You probably want to have a Diddy party. You meet me, you want to have a Diddy party.
Scary.
You probably bring all you bring all your oils.
Have a good night,
You bring
MAGA.
all your oils, right? Your Johnson & Johnson oils.
All right. For
Diddy,
sure.
you Diddy boy. You a Diddy boy.
You voted for a
Later,
man who raped
guys.
a woman.
Slim, what's your closing thoughts?
Hey, my closing thoughts is that was hilarious. First off.
Oh my God.
But yeah, man, you know, the new party, we're going to do the show tonight. Everybody tune in. The new party on YouTube. It was a great live today, guys. This is probably the first one I've been in that was crazy. K-Dot, you be standing on business, so I got to respect that. But God's going to win every time, bro.
He's standing on something, but it ain't business.
There's only two genders, and I love what Trump's doing. I'm happy that he won. And I love seeing these liberals go berserk. So it's our time now. We dealt with it for 4 years. So I got a whole bucket of popcorn every day of this shit, man. So, I love it. 85 Slim on everything. If you guys like music, I'm dropping a single tomorrow for the clubs. And y'all gonna like that one. But I'm gonna land my plane. I love y'all all. God bless.
God bless 85.
Sure. Joyce, what's your closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts are one, the word of God is the standard for life. The Bible is the standard by which we live by, which is male and female He made them. Everything outside that was born out of perversion. Having said that, the love of God is extended to us and has given us grace for repentance. And so it's a call for people to repent and get acquainted. So talking about the sport, it's only supposed to be a male sport and a female sport. And if people who do not belong to that category feel like they should have their sport, they could go make up that for themselves. But male and female, He made them. And the word of God is the standard. And America has been built on the foundations of the word of God, and that's how it has been. And so I totally agree with what is happening as to saying keeping it male and female. And I believe that anyone who is struggling with their identity, that God's love will reach towards them and then help them in figuring out what they want to be.
Okay, for sure. Make sure to give us a follow. Coolio, you were up here earlier. That's why I brought you back up to allow you to get your closing thoughts. What's your closing thoughts? Coolio, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead.
Well, my closing thoughts is I think that this is just another form of discrimination. I feel like transgender women and men still be able to participate in women and men's sports.
Oh my God.
I really don't think there should be an extra sport because there's not that many transgender athletes in general for there to be. Also, I think a lot of people on this live was getting a lot of information misconstrued because I believe y'all think that gender and sex are the same thing when they're not.
Like I said, we do this every day from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time. Me, K-Dot, and Slim, we're on a podcast with some other girls, some other guys. Thank you to all the people that came up. Thank you to all the people in the chat. If you want to come up and talk again, just show up. Like Zeke, I know you want to come up. Just show up on time and then get you up. But what we always say, the new parties always vote. And big thank you to everybody that came up and gave your opinions. You guys have a good day.